Welcome to It Happened in Grand Prairie, Texas. We're delighted to have you in our viewing audience, and we just hope you will stay with us because this is history tape number 673. And it's going to be a very, very exciting time for each of you, is our goal in bringing this to your attention. So thank you for being with us today. And I'm so very pleased because the history of Grand Prairie, Texas was really made about 7 days ago. And some more history will be made after you see this wonderful, wonderful happening. And I have two wonderful guests with me today. First of all, it's my privilege to let ladies be first. Amy Sprinkle, we're delighted to have you representing, because you're on their board, the Lifeline Shelter for families. And it's a wonderful happening in Grand Prairie that you have been involved with, up to your ears in alligators. Yes, and we're just so pleased to have you with us today. And you have brought a gentleman with you today.
Have.
And I would like for you to introduce Ron formally, because he is with a wonderful, wonderful church, and I want you to really lay it on for him.
Absolutely. Ron Blackwell's with us today. He is representing First United Methodist Church here in Grand Prairie, and the wonderful job they did. They were inspired to put on a run, and
now when you say run, that's where they go out and do something physical, right? All right.
Yes, a 5K, and it benefited the Lifeline Shelter. They've honored us for 2 years now, and we were just joking that we've next year we're afraid we're going to outgrow our space because it was very popular. Last year it was very well attended, and Lifeline was so honored to be the recipient of the revenues that it made. It makes a huge difference in our community.
All right, now, how did you get Ron invited to do this instead of maybe 3 or 4 ladies from the club that did runs and all of the others that you had to pick from?
This was his idea.
That's good.
The church, and Ron, you can probably say more. Don Strout originated the idea at the church, and Ron had a committee of some very talented and qualified individuals that took on each of the elements, and they came to Lifeline and said, "We want to do this for you."
Shall we start with him and let him tell about how all of this started, and how when we came to your church on a Sunday at 11 o'clock, after I'd already been to church at 9 o'clock, and all of these good things.
You were doubly blessed that day.
It was an exciting time. Yes, yeah. I could not believe.
We were so honored to accept that very generous check.
All right, I'm going to welcome you to the set.
Thank you, Miss Ruthie.
And because, Ron, you are new to this set, you're in charge of yourself.
Okay.
So tell us about the story of how this all began and what happened at the church.
Well, Don Strout came to me, and he was inspired to do a 5K run.
Yes.
And so we visited with Gifford Long and decided that we could...
And tell who Gifford Long is.
Gifford Long is our senior pastor at First United Methodist Church.
And everybody knows and loves him.
He's known very well in the community.
Yes.
So Don came to me and asked if we could do the run, and we discussed it and said, yes, we can do this run. And we were trying to decide the right date for the run. And several people suggested that we push it back into the summer, but that's not a good time for a run.
That's hot.
We decided to do it in the spring, and we decided to do it the day before Easter.
Oh, wonderful.
And we had 9 weeks to put this run together to make it successful. Mm-hmm. So we formed a group of members from our church who had great skills. And with all of our skills, we put together this run in 9 weeks. We did it the day before Easter, and at that particular run, this was in 2012.
Yes.
12, yeah, in 2012.
2012 was the first one.
Right, and we were able to write a check to Lifeline Shelter for $5,000. Mm-hmm. That was the proceeds from the run.
Yes.
That's how it got started.
How many people participated in the first run? Do you remember?
We had about, I think it was, I'm thinking 120 runners.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
the first
but the
night.
second
The second
run,
one.
this year's was huge.
It was huge, right? Yeah, we had a lot. Yeah, we had a lot of runners. We had a lot of runners on both of them.
So you have
So-
two different occasions that you've had a run
Yes, ma'am.
benefiting Lifeline.
That is correct.
So it's going to be an annual event.
It's always the day before Easter.
Uh-huh.
So this year, I'm sorry, in 2014, it's going to be April the 19th is going to be the run.
And you already have that in process.
That is exactly right. We've already had our first meeting. Our next meeting is going to be in August. And
How many people are on your committee that's getting all of this conjured up?
Well, there's only about 9 of us now, but we're beginning to get more people from the community involved with the run, so that we can grow the whole run, I guess.
And it takes about 50 people at least to
there's-
put it on.
We have at least 50 volunteers.
Yeah.
We have at least 50 volunteers that are there on the day
On
of
the
the
day
run.
of.
Right.
Yep, all the route monitors have to be scattered all around, and then all of the after activities.
Yeah.
There's food and awards and all the registration in advance. So it takes quite a team
Yeah.
to pull it off.
Well, now tell me what this team, how this team has sent you in a certain direction. I want to know where the run is going to be located.
Well, the run is always located in beginning in front of First United Methodist Church.
All right, we know where that is,
It's,
on
uh,
Center
on Center
Street.
Street.
Yes.
It goes south to Main Street. It goes west in front of Farmers Market.
Okay.
It goes down to 2nd Street, I think it is, and then turns north. It comes up to College Street
Yeah.
and turns back to the east.
Yes.
And then it turns north at, what's the name of that street?
First.
Is it First
It's
Street?
first,
And goes to the, it goes.
Hill Street.
Yep, to, well, it goes up by the high school.
Oh, it does the
Right,
high school
right.
hill.
It goes, yeah, that's it, yeah. To the high school, around the high school, back around, and then it goes back back to Main Street and in front of Uptown Theater, and then comes back in front of the church, and that's the finish line.
So it goes
And that
around.
begins at what time in the morning?
Well, we actually have what we call the 1 mile bunny hop that begins first, and it's earlier.
Yes.
It starts at 8 o'clock.
All right.
Okay, and that's for the kids that like to get out and run.
Yes.
For those that like to walk, they can do an early one, and it's a 1 mile. And then at 8:30 we start the official run,
Yes.
and it's a timed run, which is kind of neat because it makes it very competitive, and people will get little chips to put on their shoes.
Yes.
And it actually registers their time of when they begin and when they finish, so they record their time, and that's how we determine who the winners are for different categories to give out different awards.
How did you get volunteers from the police department and from the fire department that those two should be involved in anything you all do that take over the world?
You know, it's just such a community effort. I mean, it's such a great event because it involves so many people with the community.
And a lot of police and fire ran in the event.
They did, yeah.
They entered and ran.
We actually had a competition. Policeman and fireman competition was one of the competitions that we have.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
And what
yeah.
happens to the people that have competitions in it?
Well, they get trophies for winning in their competitions.
You're making this into a something, aren't you?
We are trying, yes. Mhm.
That's very.
And the money that it raises makes such a huge difference. This is we are so blessed at Lifeline to have several, not only First United Methodist Church, but also Calvary Baptist Church does a concert for Lifeline Shelter. The Rotary 10K run in the fall helps benefit Lifeline. They benefit several charities. Lifeline's one of them. We're so blessed to have organizations in the community raise money for us. You know, it's easy for us. We just show up the day of.
Yes.
And our cheerleaders, which is wonderful, while all these great hardworking people are raising money to help other families in Grand Prairie during times of crisis.
All right. How do you know when this run is over? That on that Saturday morning, you started at 8:30. You go all of these different ways and have different, I guess, orders for different groups of people.
Well, everybody runs the same track at 8:30. So everybody runs the same track. They go all around. They finish. So when the last person finishes, then you know the race is literally over. And then we go inside the youth building, and we serve a breakfast.
Yes.
Fuzzy's Tacos provided breakfast for us at this last event.
Yeah.
And then we hand out trophies. We actually have an award ceremony where we give out trophies to all those that won in their category.
And does this happen at the church facility?
It's in the youth building at our church.
Yes.
Mhm.
That is something else. That is a majestic happening, isn't it?
I think it is.
Yes.
Someone has
Yeah.
to be the caboose. Someone, one of the volunteers, is the last person, and they make sure that everybody's
Everything-
in on
and-
the route.
That's right.
And then who is assigned to picking up all of these things that you all have put out to mark the way?
Well, the city obviously picks up all their barricades and everything.
Okay.
And then we drive around the track to make sure everything's cleared, everything's cleaned up, and and back to the way it was before we got there.
And where you started at about 7:30 or so,
Actually, we started about 6 or 6:30.
6 or 6:30,
Yeah.
and that you ended at what time?
Well,
and everything's cleaned up, and it took you this long to do that.
It'll end up around 10 or 11. And the neat thing about this is immediately after the race, we have a huge Easter egg hunt. For anybody that wants to bring kids, we have an Easter egg hunt.
And where does this happen?
This happens right beside the youth building in that grassy area.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And double benefit, all of those people that come to the run, hundreds and hundreds of people, farmers market's still going on just next door, so another community event benefits from the huge influx of folks to downtown.
All right, now that we've already finished the run, we've already cleaned up everything, put it back together like it should have been, and you came back and had some food, and when do you really close things down and say, this has been a happy happening?
We're done, let's go home.
Yeah, it's around noon. I mean things kind of wrap up around noon. So
If you started around 6 o'clock and then around noon, you've given them a half day, hadn't you?
yes, ma'am. Yeah.
That is
It
magnificent.
is a great way to raise a lot of money
Now,
for a very good purpose. In a relatively, I mean, there's lots of planning, but the day of is 6 hours and you're done.
well, now that we've done all of this 2 times and have it on the calendar for the 3rd time next year, and everybody's working on it, and you're already getting your volunteers together and all of this good stuff. Now, I would like to know what happened to us on that Sunday when we came back to your church one Sunday ago.
I have to say we were very blessed, because we actually raised $7,000 to be able to write a check and present to Lifeline Shelter. And of course we know that Lifeline Shelter is there to help the kids, and which is part of the community effort.
And then for those who may not know, we might mention a little bit about what Lifeline does.
All right,
most people
I'd
do.
like for you to tell us that.
But we showed a little video that we showed also at our big luncheon
Yes.
that we just had this summer. Lifeline, our goal is to reduce and eliminate homelessness among children in the Grand Prairie School District,
Yes.
which is much more prevalent than you realize. While they may not be living on the streets, some may be, but they're when you move a child, you lose your lease at an apartment, so you move in with a relative. You stay there a month, and then you got to move to a friend's. You stay there a month, you get a hotel for a month. You stay there a month, you're in a car. You stay there a month. So the kids end up moving from school to school to school to school, and then it's very difficult for them to learn
Yes, it is.
in such a crisis mode. And so we try to stop that through some interim financial assistance, as well as counseling for the parents. We
Yeah.
found that we can house them, but we got to stop that cycle. So we counsel parents, we help them find jobs, we look at their skill sets, we find out what their circumstances were. We've dealt with a youth pastor who lost his job at the church and had some health complications, and that sent them into a downward spiral. These are all good people, sometimes facing health issues. Sometimes
Temporary health issues.
right? They've lost
Yeah.
a job.
Yeah.
That they're unusual. But we help about 150 families a year. With these generous donations, we can help more. That's certainly not all the people that need help.
Yeah.
That's just where our funding tends to run out in helping folks. So any of these fabulous events that the community does that benefit us helps more and more people.
Well, you better be very, very careful, because Ronald wants to get into Lifeline, and if he ever gets in that, no telling what all y'all will be into
Absolutely.
doing. Yes.
Wouldn't
Isn't that
be-
something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was the most beautiful Sunday morning
It was.
at the First United Methodist Church, where when I was 11 years old, my parents moved us to the outside of Grand Prairie, and they took me to the First United Methodist Church and brought me there for a couple or 3 or even 4 years before I found out what religion was about.
You grew up in the church, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
you
Yes, I
did.
did.
Yeah.
And have all of the records to prove it. And that's wonderful. So I would like for you to, I guess, say you have not always been with the Lifeline Shelter Group.
No, ma'am. I was recently asked to join about 2 years ago.
Yes, yes.
It's a
And-
fabulous group.
And
of
it is a
people.
fabulous group.
It
And
is.
and it is very difficult, I understand, to get on that board.
We don't have a lot of turnover.
Yes.
The people are very committed to the work that we do, and so not a lot of turnover on the board. A very influential, a very dynamic group of ladies and gentlemen. Miss Lila Thorne, Angela Gessner, Georgia Clemson, Marshall Sutton, Aletha Hicks, Kim Thorne, Diane Wynn, Dr. Susan Hall, Miss Susan Hart, Eloisa Delabosa. Gosh, I know I'm forgetting several members, and forgive my poor memory. It's Andy White from the cities joined us. It's a great group of movers and shakers.
Well, it surprises me at the fact that when you all get one on the Lifeline group, they don't leave there often.
No, usually just
You all
retire or
work-
move.
Y'all work them to death.
We do,
Yes.
we do a lot of good work during the year.
And if you think going in and becoming the president of it, you do your thing and then go away,
It's all the time.
all the time you keep them and recycle the past presidents.
Oh,
And
they're all still members.
they're all,
Yes,
yes,
we need that expertise. We keep it around.
yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Well-
we keep them on, and Miss Georgia's always so good in keeping us focused.
Tell me
And-
about Mrs. Severance.
Kathy.
Yes.
She's the director. She is our staff person. So she runs the day-to-day operations of Lifeline. She manages the office, which is in the old school administration building on College Street, and sees the clients. She's a caseworker.
How did you get the place on College Street?
The school district gave that. I think the school district still owns it, but they gifted it to not only Lifeline, but to Children First.
Yes.
We're at opposite ends on two sides of the building.
Yes.
And I think Kids Inc. also has space inside. So they were very, very kind to gift that to us, maintaining possession. We just are
Yes.
their leaseors. And great space for us to be able to see our clients in confidence and help them and work out their specific needs.
I understand just from the scuttlebutt that I have gotten from other areas that you all are very careful about letting Severance make the decisions with those people in confidence. Now,
She
why-
has full
why do you do
autonomy.
that?
She has full. She is a social worker by degree and experience, so she's very good at what she does. She works with folks in very delicate situations, and she's just a blessing.
Yes.
Such a talent and such a skill at working with people at their sometimes at their lowest. So we let her. She makes those decisions. She's qualified, trained, educated, skilled, experienced to do that. So she sees the clients, makes the decisions about what's their best needs for, and then reports back to us at our monthly board meetings. The things that have transpired. But she really operates autonomously from the board. Our job's to make money, to
Yes.
enable her to do her work. She's very good at grant writing and getting grants as well, though. She pursues those and does a really excellent job of finding that funding for us.
She's the only paid employee you have, or do you have more than that?
We have another paid employee who's more of an intern, as I understand it. And
All
I
right.
must apologize. You may know more about this than I do. I'm afraid I'm not sure if she's an intern or if she's paid employee right now. I think
Yeah.
she may be paid.
Yes. Is that the lady that comes from a local educational institution
Yes,
in this
usually we have an
area?
intern who's in a master's degree program or or getting her undergraduate degree at a local college, at a local university, a student.
Now, how did this come about? Who in the world is so tricky and so wonderful that they can hustle people like that and bring them into your umbrella?
I think it's Kathy. I think she made connections with the schools to find interns. There's more work than just one person can
Yes.
hope to tackle
Yeah.
in a day. So having an intern has been a real blessing for her. It lets us do almost twice the amount of work, and it gives the student the very valuable hands-on experience they need to finish their degree and their master's program. Some may even decide to go on for doctorates if they want to really make a career in social work, perhaps. It's good hands-on experience
Yes.
while they're getting their degree.
Now, Ron, what happened Sunday is your bailiwick. And I'd like your impression on how everything was handled and how the people responded.
Oh, we had such a great response. You know, we saw some of our congregation that just awed when they heard $7,000.
Yes.
I mean, it was just amazing. I mean, I just feel like we're so blessed to be able to be in this position to do something like this, and we just feel committed to continue doing this.
Did you like the way your group responded?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I think with what we did this year, it's just going to inspire people to get more involved and just continue our program.
Could I beg you to excuse me for a moment? And then I'm going to try to get back in time to let you say a few words yourselves. But I have one little happening that we have in this. There was a person that doesn't really relate very much to what you all do. So I'm going to draw a line there. And I'm going to bring you into a different place. I received this from a young man named Kendrick Burke. I'm writing to let Miss Ruthie Jackson know that my mother was fatally injured by a 20-year-old drunk driver. She always loved talking with Miss Jackson. We just finalized her funeral arrangements, and I wanted to forward them on to her. This young man was so wonderful, but I had two people that had the same funeral 11 o'clock one morning, and I had to take the other one because I had already made a commitment to that. So I called this young man back and asked him his permission to read this note and put it into being, that this lady was just a real wonderful volunteer that came to all of the things for the people that had Kendrick Burke. She was buried at the Dallas-Fort Worth National Cemetery on Mountain Creek Parkway.
Wow.
And was a young retiree from the service. And she was wonderful to everyone in Grand Prairie, Texas. And I wanted to mention her name to each one of you to say a prayer for the family, and especially thanking Kendrick Burke for allowing me to make this announcement about his mother, and that they cared enough to follow the leader. And thank you very much. And I think we might be able to get by with 1 minute from each one of you if you'll look out into the guest camera there. And I'm going to let you be first. I let the ladies be first on others. And just tell the people in Grand Prairie, Texas, how you feel about this. 1 minute.
You know, living in Grand Prairie is a great place to live. And I would encourage everybody to get more involved in their community. And we would love to have people to come and help us with the Run for Shelter 5K run. It's going to be April the the 19th. Starts early in the morning. Just get a hold of us there at First United Methodist Church and come and be part of this great event. Thank you.
And thank you, Ron. We appreciate very much your being here. And now, Miss Amy, you have the last say.
Well, we're so blessed, Lifeline Shelter is so blessed to have organizations like First United Methodist Church work on our behalf, raising money to help others. If your church or organization would like to do something similar, we welcome that. It's such a blessing to the community, the good work that our churches, our nonprofits are doing to help the people in Grand Prairie. We want to thank the church for their very generous donation to Lifeline this year, and Ron's taught me to be I'm going to be on the committee now.
Thank you both very, very much. And this is Ruthie Jackson thanking you for watching our show, and God bless Texas, God bless the city of Grand Prairie, Texas, and thank you.